Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speeder, and today we're going to be talking about Whirlwind. Windranger with Whirlwind is what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. And yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to talk about this. Team Falcons has really popularized, or Skeeter in particular, Whirlwind Windranger. What does it do? You might be wondering, what are you talking about, Speed? Here's the big thing. Whirlwind Windranger is this AoE version of Whirl. Honestly, at first I thought it was terrible. I thought it was completely unviable and kind of a joke. But he has really shown me that it's actually a really good farming ability and scales incredibly well. Basically, how I think Falcons looks at this hero is it has almost no losing matchups in lane, which is true. It's actually a very good farming hero because you can take Ancients with this version of Focus Fire, Whirlwind, and it allows you to pick any support you want. Now, that's the pro scene, okay? In pubs, it's actually still good. And it's actually still good because there's a lot of variation in pubs. You don't know if you're going to have the position 5 Pudge who misses every hook for the first 7 minutes of the game. You don't know if you're going to have the position 5 Tiny who has really no interest in laning and has Boots Blood Grenade and plans on contesting every single rune starting from minute 2. You don't know. And so it's actually really nice when you don't know, or you know you're going to have these pretty weak laning supports, to have a hero like Wind in your inventory that will allow you to get through the lane. On top of that, go sign up to the gameleap website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. Okay, so for starting items, there's 2 different variations to Windranger. There's what Skeeter does, which is a heavy prioritization of mana boots. And I think he does this because it's kind of a team conceptual thing. I think he loves pumping mana, not only into himself, but also into his supports. Also, Windranger just naturally has mana problems, so I kind of get it. But he goes 1-3 branches. This build is far lower damage and actually, in my opinion, pretty weak compared to Circlet, 3 branches, and Tangos. In terms of early execution, the laning stage is pretty simple. You're mainly using Power Shot to secure the range creep. You can apply a lot of aggression to laning heroes, specifically melee laning heroes. You can hit them a ton. What I recommend you do is you actually shouldn't have too much of a problem with pushing the wave on this hero. It's honestly totally fine. Typically what actually ends up happening and being a great strategy is when you auto-attack the wave a lot, which he's doing, and you secure the range creep with a Power Shot, which he does, it's going to push a lane hard, and it's going to give you a double wave coming into the second wave. This is actually a great thing because you don't have Wind Run yet, so you're actually pretty easy to kill. Like certain dual lanes can kill you at level 1 if they know you have Power Shot, but that's pretty hard for them to do if you have multiple creeps. Ends up not fully coming into play here. The wave actually ends up pushing back. The Centaur had to pull creep aggro, they double denied, and so he's chilling. Once again, creep aggro splits. He's going to use Power Shot for the range creep. This nuke is so high damage, it's 170. It kills range creeps from 2/3 health. So it's really easy to secure the range. Only thing you have to keep in mind is how Power Shot works is it does less damage the more units it hits. So if you shoot through 3 range creeps, the 4th unit will take 45% less damage. So the Power Shot will only deal 80 or 90 damage, which is still good enough to secure the creep most of the time, but it's important to know that if you Power Shot through an entire wave, you will sometimes miss the range creep as a result of the damage reduction. Now, if you're copying Skeeter's build, what he's going to buy next is Bassi, nothing too crazy there, and this is a great laning item. I mean, giving mana regen to you and your support is obviously super high impact, and I think this is probably a concept that Team Falcons has, which is Bassi just being a good item. I mean, he loves buying mana boots. A lot of players on this team I've seen put a heavy prioritization on mana boots, and Bassi in particular. Also, a situation you should look for in the laning stage is a Power Shot on the range creep into auto attacks. Power Shot slows, and as a result, when you hit it, it typically is a situation where you're going to be able to hit the offlaner. Because number 1, you're pushing the wave, so there's going to be less creeps for you to have to tank, specifically the range creep, which does the most damage. And the enemy is slowed, so you're going to be able to sneak in some autos. As we see here, the Mirana actually takes advantage of it. Wasn't him in this case because the Centaur has good positioning, but that is something to look for, especially in pubs. People overextend all the time trying to deny the range creep. Now let's talk about skill build and item build. So for a skill build, it's pretty standard. Some people will take a second point in Wind Run if it's a really good lane to dodge auto attacks. Maybe you're against something like Marcy and you're really afraid of her going on you, then having the extra duration and the lower cooldown can be really, really nice. But I think in this lane, he sees a lot of kill potential with the Mirana, and so he's going to take a point in Cube. We'll see in this clip here, he's actually going to end up getting a kill on the Centaur here. Also, just in general, guys, spam your W. If you're going to go this build where he even has raindrops, I mean, this is full spam the W. Spam the W. Like, even if you don't need it to pressure the enemy, you can just casually shoot it at these 2 waves. Like, you can move to here and farm by just shooting Power Shots through these camps if the wave is stacked here. Like, there's a lot of efficiency plays with this build. But yeah, he's going to end up going for a kill in a moment. Pulse creep aggro here, gets the CS. Shackle shot sets up power shot even if you miss. That's something to keep in mind. Like, a lot of people don't know that. It sets up even if you miss. And so that is something you can do. Power shot slow actually sets up for arrow in this case, and they end up walking down the centaur. He had a Lotus, but it wasn't enough. The power shot comes up again, and they get the kill. So the next thing that Skeeter does is he's really good about hitting the gate. Now, this version of Windranger, Whirlwind, is actually worse than Focus Fire. Focus Fire as an early game ability is definitely better than Whirlwind. Whirlwind, it's just inconsistent. Yes, there are niche cases where like you're hitting 3-4 heroes with it at the same time and it's better than Focus Fire, but for the most part, Focus Fire is better. But you can still show up. Power Shot is a good nuke. As we see here, it's going to set up for almost a kill on top, so this actually misses. And then he's going to look for the Tusk. And as you'll see, this is a weakness of this facet. It is not good at setting up these kills. It's not terrible. He still runs down White Bond, but it actually requires him to have very high execution, right? He's going to Shackle, which it's pretty cool that the Whirlwind keeps going during Power Shot. I didn't know that initially, but it does. And so that is a buff. It's actually really cool. You can QW during your ult, and it's actually the best way to maximize damage. That does not work with Focus Fire. So pretty cool there. It's actually a reason to pick this facet. And yeah, he's trying to run down the Tusk, but as you can see, it's not easy. He has to hit a YOLO Power Shot, which are really hard to hit actually. Fortunately, he's a god and hits it, but yeah, that is the issue. However, because of the fact that this item build is very cheap, doesn't have any bracers, so it's much cheaper than other stat builds. It's even cheaper than treads as well. Mana boots are cheaper. As a result, he gets a very fast Maelstrom, right? And what you do with this Maelstrom is you ulti the Ancients. And this is great, right? Because Windranger is actually really bad at killing Ancients otherwise. You can do it with Focus Fire. You don't use the Focus Fire. You just kind of keep auto-attacking with treads and you Power Shot, and it dies eventually. Like, you can, and people will take Ancients with the other facet, but it's much, much slower. You can see this facet's really good at farming the triangle. And this is what he does for the rest of the game. He kind of just starts to ulti, right? Ulti the triangle, and it's really great. He's actually farming close to the pace of this Lina. I think he's out farming the Lina at this point. And yeah, he does have a pretty good kill score. Also, this movement was great. He TP's bottom here. I love when you pick a hero like Windranger who's really good in the early game just because you have Power Shot. Like, it's funny, he actually misses Power Shot and has like almost no impact here. So like, yeah, you could argue he didn't have to TP, but like, I love these TPs. It's deep under the tier 2. You expect the enemy to respond. You want to be there. You also have mana boots, so you can eventually give mana to your teammates if you so need. Generally, what you should do at this point is just run back to the triangle. He actually ultis these two camps. So it goes to show, you can clearly tell how he sees this ulti. In the early game, it's actually more of a farming tool than a fighting tool, but it'll still fight, right? He will still show up to fights and just click W and click he'll just click W and, you know, throw out a couple auto attacks from the back. And we kind of see the same thing here. He actually shifts over to this bottom fight, and yeah, his presence is actually very important. The Stampede doesn't hit the Mirana as a result of his Shackle Shot. His Dragonite ends up going down, but he hits another Power Shot, and with a couple of autos is eventually able to take down this very pesky Centaur, who's pretty annoying for Windranger. That max Retaliate is very painful. But yeah, then another TB back to the triangle, and this is the big play to get him farm. He does use Windrun to try to avoid some of the damage. And yeah, you eventually farm it up. Damn, this camp, this is the worst camp, just so you guys know. Couple things to note. These Ancient Rumblehide, the small ones, give accuracy increase and attack speed bonus. So they actually make you get hit through your E. Like, that's why he's getting destroyed even with Windrun going. So this camp is kind of trash, but other than that, you should be fine. Also, in terms of neutral item, you should take Safety Bubble, Royal Jelly, or Seeds of Serenity every game. Don't take a damage item. I know it's very tempting, but your hero has massive HP regen issues. And so Seeds of Serenity is number 1 because you want to be tanky and fight early game, so it's the best sustain. I would say Royal Jelly is number 2 because actually you can have mana problems. Royal Jelly might even be number 1 if you are going Bracer, Treads, that item build that some people go. Then Jelly actually probably is better because you have way less mana than Mana Boots. But yeah, this clip is great as well. You can see right here is the power of Seeds of Serenity, Raindrops, and Atos because you have HP pool, right? If you don't have Seeds, he would probably be 600 health here just from farming creeps, maybe even lower, right? But he has just enough HP to get off his E. The Raindrops obviously buy him a lot of time. The Tusk All-Ins commits the Snowball. They even commit Stampede. I think the Stampede unfortunately didn't hit, and he even considers turning. baits in Thompson's Bat Rider, which was so sick, and he ends up living. So the combination of the seeds, the raindrops, and the wand, as well as a bit of HP from Atos, makes the difference there. And all throughout this game, Skeeter is just so active, which is why this hero can be such a good pup hero. He doesn't even have ult. Yes, he has a lot of synergy with Mirana, right? The Solar Flare Mirana gives you the ability to kill people even with your ult, without your ulti, but a simple Gleipnir and a power shot is about 600 damage. It's plenty to take out most heroes in the early game, minute 15. It's going to be a lot. It's almost half of many heroes' HP, right? HP pools. So it's really nice that you can use the ulti to farm, which he continues to do, showing up the fights like crazy, finds a kill a bottom, runs mid, finds a kill mid with his slaughter, off to Ancients. He's going to go farm the Ancients now. You can just do so much on this hero, which is why it's not easy. I recommend if you want to give this hero a shot, it's one of the best pub heroes in the game. Hands down, best pub heroes in the game, because you're a dominant laner, you scale well, you can fight early game, you can do everything. But it means you have to be good. Now upcoming here is probably the only fight where he overcommits a little bit. Keep in mind, he also buys the Ogre Axe. So many people, they just buy damage, right? They're going to buy the Mithril Hammer first. Just guys, buy stats. You're universal, so you actually get a little bit of damage from this. It's not great, I think it's like 6. Obviously way less than 24. But it's just good to be tanky. You're a utility frontline hero at this point in the game. You're not actually some like heavy burst damage hero. You have 2 disables, 3 if you count your W. You're very tanky, and he's actually trying to be. You can tell. He sees himself as a frontliner. You are not the average range hero. You're not Sniper. You're not Drow. He's running in, leads with Gleipnir. He's setting up a play for his team. Unfortunately, he goes a little deep, does kind of get counter-initiated on, commits his win run a tad early. And I think if he backed up a second earlier there, he would have been in a much better position. Kind of gets bailed out from his team, but a Gleipnir from Lina puts him in a very awkward position. And he does eventually end up going down. It took a lot, though. Let me tell you. It took a lot. And actually, a big reason why they won this fight, I want you to watch this from Thompson's perspective. He kind of chokes here, but it's like a half choke. Because if you're watching this, you're like, oh my gosh, this Wind isn't dead. Why is she so tanky? And he actually commits Lasso, which, yeah, kills her, but it's kind of a waste, and they end up losing the fight. I have to imagine a lot of it's because this DK ends up getting the hit here and actually kills him because he can't lasso him. So high impact to have that extra 10 strength. It literally won this fight, and that's not an over-exaggeration. Maybe you could say it is if Thompson didn't, make his play, but if Thompson's doing it, I assure you a Crusader will too. Okay, and upcoming here is going to be where you really start to see Windranger come online. When you start working into this Daedalus and build up this damage, and you have BKB as well, you can kill everyone. And I'm not kidding, you can literally wipe the enemy if they don't position well. The lower MMR you go, guys, the more people clump up. They clump up at high MMR too, but less. And so this shit is really strong. So, for items, please go Gleipnir BKB. Do not go Gleipnir Axe. Do not go Gleipnir Daedalus. People will do it, they're like, but speed, I got a rampage. I'm really happy for you, Timmy. That's great. I'm really happy you got a rampage. The problem is, you have a 40% win rate, because you keep dying to a singular axe call, because you have Daedalus, or you just die to any nuke. Gleipnir, stun from Lina, just kills you. Please, you do so much damage. Buy a BKB and run in. Your hero has to be close to melee range to use their ult. You can't not buy BKB, right? It's so problematic that people actually buy these other items. Like, so bad. Does end up working almost to this Daedalus here. We're going to see the big team fight. Mirana was dead, and so Tundra goes for a big play. They find a nice lasso onto the Windranger. But unfortunately, Crit really on his game here. Super fast with the TP. That allows him to get off the BKB. And yeah, look at this damage. I'm going to play it in 1x speed here, so this is regular. Destroys the bat, destroys the Leshrac. Almost dies to Diabolic Edict, funny enough. That was literally the only thing killing him. I'm not kidding. It wasn't Blade Mail, he was BKB'd. But yeah, just rips the Lesh and the Bat Rider to pieces. Does about half of the Centaur's HP. And that was without Daedalus. That wasn't even on this massive damage spike. His next item is pretty funny. Actually, he buys a Rape Band, which I actually really like because it gives you some attack speed. He also has Growbow, by the way, and the reason why Growbow is good is because it amps the magic damage of your Gleipnir, of your Power Shot, and your ulti Whirlwind shoots these arrows based on your attack range, plus 125 attack range. But that includes Growbow, it includes Dragonlance, so like Dragonlance is good on this hero. At some point you can go like Pike, late game if you need some positioning. Maybe you're against Clock or you just want some HP, right? This hero has pretty bad HP pool at only 2k. Considering he has 18k net worth, this is not exactly super high HP. So you can go Pike as your next item. That's definitely good. It also increases your ulti cast range, or the ulti attack range. But yeah, Growbow is so good on this hero. I actually think it's probably better than most tier 3 neutral items, and so if you don't get a good selection of tier 3 neutral items, you can just keep the Growbow and be very happy about it. But yeah, why the Wraithband? He actually had 8 armor, and now the Wraithband puts him up to 15, which is pretty significant. It can make the difference sometimes, and it gives him a little bit of attack speed. He has no attack speed item. Literally none besides Growbow. I guess 3 attack speed from Magic Wand. So it gives him a little bit of damage when his ulti ends, which is nice. And so yeah, for his neutral item, he ends up getting Vambrace, which is fine. It gives him that attack speed we were talking about. But like, I don't know, I kind of have a hard time feeling that this is better than Growbow. It's barely more attack speed. It's like a little bit of damage, like 6 or 10. I guess it's 18 it's 18 stats, so maybe it's better because it makes you a little tanky, but I don't know. It's like, to me, it's kind of hard to justify it. For his next item, he actually queues up Satanic, so just wanted to be tanky. Definitely, at this point, there's definitely a couple options. I think the Ags is really, really good now that you have your BKB and your damage. Ags is good, Satanic is good, Pike is good. Just feel out whatever you need in the game. I think because the Centaur and the Leshrac are doing a lot of like damage to him, he feels that the Satanic is probably good to avoid the burst damage and just heal up after these nukes chip him down, even through BKB. But yeah, it gets gone on. Really bailed out by the SD. I mean, I'm saying bailed out, but I think he's positioning so that the SD can save him. I don't think that this is some like major coincidence that he's been disrupted 3 times in a row. Like, oh, Skeeter is so bad, but Crit's the savior. Like, no, I think they're intentionally putting their frontliners in the front line. But yeah, fight breaks out. Nothing too crazy here. BKB ulti, just gonna run in the middle. And I mean, they have Crimson at this point, but this damage is crazy. I mean, he is destroying them. Like, and you can see it lasts a long time. It lasts 9 seconds at all levels. It actually lasts longer if you get kills with your level 25 talent. It extends the duration by 2 seconds. Talking about talents, at level 10, skip your talent, max out your Q. At level 15, take Wind Run cooldown. At level 16, you can take Shackle Shot cooldown. At level 20, you take Focus Fire damage reduction. At level 25, occasionally Wind Run cannot be dispelled is correct against certain heroes like Shadow Demon, but generally you take Whirlwind kills, extend duration by 2. Yeah, in this team fight, they do have a Crimson. Another item you can buy late game is Nullifier if people are buying Crimson against you. You don't have to, because with Daedalus, you actually do damage through Crimson, like you do enough. But it's still a little problematic, especially against a hero like Centaur that's giving this massive barrier. Like, trust me, guys, he's killing them all now. If it's an average pub where people aren't buying defensive items and there's no Crimson, you will just explode the enemy team on this timing. Like, people will completely melt on this timing. But yeah, that's going to be all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck in your games, and I'll see you in the next one.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!